This video is going to be all about setting powder. I find setting powder to be maybe not an exciting cosmetic product, but a game changer in how your foundation looks, how your whole face looks, and how your makeup can last during the day. So I've been talking about setting powders as long as I've been talking about makeup. I have a new one to tell you about today. It's by the brand By Terry. I've heard of this brand forever. I heard about it first on a lot of like the UK and like European YouTube makeup girls. And so I've explored the brand a bit, and I am so excited to tell you about their hyaluronic setting powders. This has hyaluronic acid. And if you've been around my blog for a while, you know I love hyaluronic acid. I started using a moisturizer with hyaluronic acid, and it made my skin feel like pure silk. So these are the two products I'm talking about in this demo to explain how to use setting powders. So you can see the one here is the Hyaluronic Hydra powder. It is completely translucent. It's white, but it's completely translucent on the skin. And then I'm also going to talk about their Hyaluronic Tinted Hydra powder. The shade I have here that works best on my skin tone is natural. So the most traditional way to use setting powder is to set your full face of makeup. My favorite way to use setting powder, other than doing my full face, and I will do that next and show you kind of how to dust it on nicely, is to set my under eye concealer. So I have not set my under eye concealer today. I've applied it already, as you can tell, but I'm going to use the translucent Hydra powder. The thing I love about hyaluronic acid so much, and that I'm so happy to see it in this powder, is it can hold up to 1,000 times its weight in water. So if you live in any kind of environment where there's humidity in the air, hyaluronic acid is going to attract the water in the air and make the moisturizer even more effective. So by using a hyaluronic-based setting powder, you're not only going to set your makeup or set your under eye concealer and take away any oiliness that you may not want there, but you're also going to kind of rehydrate and moisturize your skin. It's like everything I would want in a setting powder, because setting powders can sometimes look a little dry. This one does not. That's why I love it so much. So again, I'm using the translucent. I just shake it upside down, and then I'm using this By Terry brush as well because it's just perfect for pressing under my eye. So I've got a little in the lid here and then also some in the container. I'm just gonna pick some of it up. So I've got some on my brush here and just gonna tap it under my eyes. You don't wanna press and spread the product too much. It is a light, loose powder, so it should dust on really nicely. But I'm starting out by tapping just to even out the concealer tackiness with the powder and add some of the translucent setting powder right in that area. So that's how you would use the translucent Hydra powder under your eye. You could certainly do it on your entire face. If you don't want to disrupt the existing coloring of your makeup and you just want to set your makeup and kind of add a little bit more hydration in with your setting powder, you could use the translucent on your whole face. If you do want to add a little bit of color, or let's say you've just put concealer on, you're skipping foundation altogether, and you want just a little wash of color on your skin that feels nice, looks nice, hydrating, you could use this setting powder just in addition to concealer if you need concealer. You can also use it on top of foundation to set your makeup. So same thing here, I'm gonna shake a little bit of it into the lid, and then I will use the fluffier side of this double-ended brush, also by Terry, and pick up some of the product. And same thing, you saw me tap that powder under my concealer. I'm not gonna spread and wash this brush all over my skin. I'm just gonna lightly, almost barely touch it and sort of tap and dust the product on. My last quick tip to use setting powder for all that you can use it for is to put a little bit of it on the top of your cheekbones if you're gonna apply any darker eyeshadow to your existing makeup. Setting powder, especially this one, is so light and airy that if you tap a little bit of it on here and then you go on to touch up your eye makeup, and let's say you drop some of that darker eyeshadow that you're adding in to the top of your cheekbones, instead of just pressing it away with your fingers, if you've put a little bit of this light setting powder on there, the eyeshadow pigment will just drop into this little area of dust from the powder, and then you can just brush it away and you won't have any of that darkness left behind. So it really is versatile. I love the color that the tinted powder gives. I love the feeling of both, and I really have seen a big difference. Have you ever put setting powder on and then you're like, oh great, now it shows all of like the flakes of my skin, all the dry patches. It looks crumbly. This does the opposite of that. It takes away the oiliness, but the hyaluronic acid in it hydrates everything. It evens your skin tone out if you're using the tinted one, and it just gives you kind of a fresh face. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you and that you learned something. Really, setting powder is one of those products I don't travel without. I use it all the time. I feel like it's not as hyped up as like a new shade of lipstick or a new eyeshadow palette, but it is a game changer in how your makeup looks and lasts.